sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
Hello.
Hi. Me double checking that the mics are on.
I noticed that.
For how many times?
That's a valid check.
We have fucked that up.
That's me more so than you, but that's okay.
Well, tomato, tomato. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Maple.
And I'm Heather Terry.
And this is once more our power hour of true crime, fucked up stories that make you kind of want to weep in your bed afterwards.
You sound like a 70s DJ when you do that, and I like it.
I would love that.
Yeah?
I would love to sound like a 70s DJ. Always.
Always and forever? Well,
Yes.
you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Speaking of always and forever, I will always and forever want to decorate for Christmas before Christmas. Now, hear me out. Number one, if you're a hater, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. Who cares? Right? Here's the other thing. Why do people get emotionally distraught over what strangers are doing inside of their homes?
Or outside. Who cares?
Yeah,
if it doesn't affect you, who cares?
That's what I'm saying. And at the end of the day, it's societal norms that make me want to decorate faster because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, one day I'm going to wake up with the holly jolly spirit upon me. Mm-hmm. And it happened on Saturday.
Yeah. So did you start decorating?
No.
No?
I know. It's shocking. So this year, being that I am obsessed with decorating and I need it. I need it. I need it.
You really do.
I do.
I know. You
That
do.
I do. So this year I was like, all right, Brooklyn, be still my heart. And I am going to take my decor down.
Your Halloween stuff?
My fall.
Your fall stuff.
I'm not trash. I don't have Halloween stuff out. I have fall.
We don't judge anyone if you have Halloween stuff. You're trash. Okay.
Well, you are. I'm kidding. I don't know. I guess it depends on how many people are mad that I said that. But I call myself trash on a lot of different topics too. So I don't really mean like you're trash, but like you're trash, Anywho, I took down the kitchen, which my house layout is literally living room, kitchen, or living room, dining room, kitchen, all open floor concept.
Open space.
Yeah. So I cleaned one section. I was like, I'm going to take everything for once, organize it, clean the space, and start anew.
Yeah.
But November 18th,
it's the day.
it is the motherfucking day.
The Lord has made.
Yes. 'Tis the reason for the season. And I'm going to be all up in that shit.
Yeah.
Not any of the God stuff, but I'm going to be into the decorations. I'm going to be into that Hobby Lobby shit, which is also God stuff.
Hoblobs.
Hoblobs is the Chick-fil-A of life.
That's what, man, you're very religious. Is it because we're recording on a Sunday?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I just got back from church. No. No, but I'm very excited to get my decor on. I'm wearing my I Like 'Em Real Thick and Sprucey shirt.
You are?
I am. It's on.
Yay.
You can't see, but you can see where it says
I wore
Sprucey.
mine the other day.
I was quite excited about it.
Yes, that is very exciting.
Yeah. I feel a little level of anxiety. Shocking, because we're getting a real Christmas tree and it has to be at the Kroger on Fredica, the
one here in Owensboro?
Boy Scouts or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
Because Travis and Jay, it is their journey, and I'm only here on that sleigh ride with them. And I was like, we have 4 days after I see that come out. So like I have pre-anxiety because I'm not choosing the date that we're going to get our Christmas tree. Life is choosing the day because I said within 4 days. So we have to drop everything and we're bringing in a sweet baby angel Christmas tree into the home. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just getting myself all worked up in a tissy.
Christmas anxiety.
Yeah.
About a tree.
Yeah. I haven't meditated in a few days. So
Yeah.
I think I need to sit in some silence.
I need to try to learn how to do that. Every time I do that, I just fall asleep.
It happens.
I'm a calico cat. I like a little quick 15er every now and then, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I like to take a nap. I like naps. What? Napperoni and cheese.
Yeah, those are my favorite. That's my favorite little sneaky snack.
Me too.
If I could have napperoni and cheesed last night, I would have done it.
Yeah.
Like yesterday was the day where it was like, if I would have been at home.
Sleep.
Oh, I would have been a dog on a rug in front of a fireplace.
Oh my God. I hate that I just pictured that.
I know. That's what I'm here for. I'm trying to spark joy.
Well, you always do. You know what won't?
What?
My story.
Mine is a poo-poo platter too.
I know. Not any of them are like, this is going to be uplifting.
Yeah.
And a great. It's not. It's not what the people want.
No.
They don't.
It's not what they came here for.
Do you want to rock, paper, scissors? Or
No, I do not want to go first.
Okay.
I came in here fair and square being like, Heather is in the captain's chair and you're going to drive us on this boat to hell.
Okay. Well, it's usually what I do. So I will continue that journey of driving everything to hell.
Right, let's do it.
Let's do it. So I tripped and fell into this story and it caught my attention because you know that show, Fear Thy Neighbor?
Yes.
This one is based in Madisonville, which is about an hour from here.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, from here in Owensboro. So I perked up because after a while you hear them and you're like, okay, well, this is just going to be another story, which is sad that I'm so desensitized to it. But anyway.
You said Madisonville, right?
Madisonville. Mm-hmm.
So Owensboro for anyone who is in Owensboro fucking knows Madisonville, I would say. But if you don't, Google Owensboro.
Yeah, as they already should have because they're huge fans.
Into a quarter. And it's like Madisonville is very tiny.
I'm going to talk a little bit about it. But yeah.
Let's do it.
So I picked that because it's set down in Madisonville. Like I said, it's about an hour from here. And I got the show wrong. It is. I am off to a great start.
You're always, who cares?
And you know what? Math and facts. This was actually on the show Nightmare Next Door because there's a lot of them. There's so many of those. It's like,
yeah, and all the names,
bathtub murders and all like weird swamp people, or like all of them, right?
Yes, all of them have the same. You know what? The true crime shows are the potato chips of our lives, in which I mean, they are all very, very similar. They all give us a delicious crunch. And the saltiness that we need. I watched the whole thing about like how we.
That got me a little bit sorry. You look so serious. That's what y'all. She looks so serious
because we literally produce food that makes you addicted to it, and like we do it by making the exact crunch and the exact like flavor profile that you want. And true crime has figured that out. On our shows, they are essentially all the same thing, but with a little bit of a different twist to it.
When you write, you write.
So if you get the wrong name, whatever, it's the same show.
Nightmare Next Door.
Got it.
Madisonville is kind of like Mayberry, like a town. So like they said on the show, it has a population of about 20,000 people.
20. I was like,
20. It feels
how?
like 20,000.
I've been there, and there are more than 20 people.
It has 20,000 people, so everybody knows everybody, that sort of thing. There's apparently a song about it too, and the lyrics, read, "I've said it once, I'll say it again. Take it for what it's worth. Madisonville, Kentucky is the best little town on earth." And it's very catchy. Got stuck in my head, and that's why I did not sing it.
Throw that to like an eerie backdrop, and that's creepy.
Yeah, but it's like, of course.
That's
kind of how it is.
I've
said it once, I'll say it again. Like that's how
the background of that. It's me playing my banjo.
Your banjo. That'll be your first single.
Wow, we've let you get 2 sentences into your story.
I know.
And
this is what happens. We didn't see each other for one day. One day. One whole day, and we're like, oh my God, hi. And we've talked all morning.
Did you know one time I went to Madisonville? There were more than 20 people.
Oh my gosh. Okay, don't turn it off. I promise I'm going to tell a story. Okay. And then I wrote props to them for rhyming the word earth. I don't know. That was like amazing.
Birth.
I knew, because I knew you would do that. Birth, girth, worth.
Dearth.
What?
I said dearth.
What's dearth? Okay, now I gotta be serious. I'm gonna tell you about the sweet baby angel Anne Branson, or as some of her family called her, Mae Branson. Everybody knew Anne and said she was like glamorous. Her hair was always done perfectly. Her makeup was on point. So we love Anne. You're still laughing.
I'm having
a laugh attack.
A laugh attack. Oh my God! Pull it through. Okay.
You got it.
Sorry.
You got it.
Don't make eye contact.
Do I have like a booger on my nose?
No, I'm having one of those horrible laugh attacks where you can't stop laughing no matter.
Okay. I don't think it's horrible.
She was
it's
really
great.
cute.
Yeah, we love Anne.
Okay.
We love Anne.
Go Anne.
Always done up, always cute and pretty, and we love her. She grew up in a wealthy family as her dad owned a coal mine, and she fell in love for a farmer. She fell in love with a farmer named Carol Gooch Branson.
Male?
Yes. His name, he went by Gooch.
So weird.
Yeah.
Carol. I just read a book about a hunter named Carol.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a serial killer named Carol too.
Well, anyway, it's weird.
So
the only thing I care about right now are Christmas carols.
This bitch. If anyone would like to apply to be the not kidding. Look, post a thing on Indeed for a new co-host.
Oh my God, right? That's cute.
I would never. So her and Gooch got married. And they worked their asses off to learn a good living. Anna Mae worked through the war on fighter planes. So like badass Rosie the Riveter type of lady.
Oh, yeah.
After the war, they built a beautiful home in Madisonville. And 2 years later, in 1950, they opened up the only Dairy Queen there, which made them a shit ton of money.
I bet them chicken tendies and gravy.
Right? I know. They kept saying on the show the Queen was the hangout place, and they called it the Queen, and I thought it was really cute. They eventually sold the Queen, and Gooch retired. And Anne had already purchased a few rental properties, but she was like, okay, I'm kind of bored. So she decided to dive in and focus on real estate. She apparently crushed it and started flipping houses, renting them out, and then moving on. Just
was this
one
in the
after
90s
the other.
or before the bubble, or when was that?
It was between then. The timeline is kind of on it, so I don't know. This was probably like 80s.
Okay.
If I was a guessing lady.
The second I said it, I was like, Heather doesn't know I can see.
You can see it in
when
my
she
face.
doesn't know. And I'm like, oops, sorry.
I just guessed.
You don't always know.
You don't
man.
always know.
You don't always know.
You don't. And
You find out things are happening and nobody gave you a timeline.
I mean,
I'm like between 1970 and 2010.
It's funny that you said that because mine's like later in 1950 and that's when they opened it up, but then they sold it. And then my next line is cut to 1994. So that's why I was looking at you like it's funny that you asked me that because I have no clue. Okay, back down to sad. Cut to 1994 because sadly Gooch passed away. She was self-sufficient though. She already owned 40 rental properties and everyone said she was such an admirable businesswoman. They also mentioned that she would accidentally set off her alarm system at least once a day and specifically request a female officer to come check it out.
One more question, sorry.
Yeah.
How old was Gooch? Like, how old
Older.
was No, like how old? Like, give me an age range here. Are they in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 60s? What's her birth
This
year?
would be 60s or 70s. I don't know if he was older than her or not, but if I'm guessing on the timeline, then she's 60s,
They're in their
70s.
60s, okay.
Yeah. She hated when people saw her without her wig and makeup done, especially men. Like and my grandma, she's 85 and she's kind of the same way. Like she always has to have her hair and makeup done if there's men around. I think it's just generation.
100%.
Clearly, I don't follow that rule because I'd be looking Merle Haggard right now. So
I'm not going to deny. I'm kidding. We both have no makeup on and sweatshirts.
Yes.
Fuck life.
I mean, we look we're sitting in ball gowns. Skip ahead to Sunday, January 13th, 2003. Anna Mae goes to the 6 p.m. church service at First Baptist Church there in Madisonville, and then she walks home. She had big plans for the following day. She had a big-ass deposit to make at the bank, lunch with her fiancé, and then dinner and dancing at night. When her fiancé went to pick her up...
So she already has a new guy.
Yeah,
I have
this
no
is
idea
like
the timeline. I know,
yeah.
but usually, I mean...
It goes from 94 to 2003.
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But my Mima lost her husband, and she wasn't a hussy and didn't get I'm like, if I die, Travis won't be remarrying in his 70s. He can die alone. That's all I have to say. No, I get didn't realize she's already fiancéing.
Yeah. Okay, she was supposed to meet him and do all that fun little cute date night or whatever. When her fiance went to pick her up, she didn't answer the door, but her car was in the garage, so he got worried, and she was very independent, so he didn't want to help her, but he was like, I have to call, like, she's not answering the door. This is weird. And the deputy sheriff came, and nothing looked suspicious on the outside, so they called her brother Earl, and he came and let them in. And they went in, and Earl was surprised because the burglar alarm didn't go off.
So she has a fiance, but he doesn't have a key to her house? Like, do we stop and realize that? He didn't have a key, so they have to call a cop to call the brother to bring a key?
I guess.
That's bizarre to me.
Yeah,
especially Madisonville. I feel like there'd be a key under a flower pot.
I never thought about
weird to me.
I never thought about that. Anyway, Earl came over, and he went to open the door and expected to turn the alarm off because her alarm went off all the time, but it didn't go off. They went to search the house, and Earl found 85-year-old Anna Mae dead at the bottom of her staircase. They immediately knew it wasn't natural causes because they saw several wounds and there was so much blood. When they went to investigate the scene, it had all been cleaned up and everything had been removed, so no DNA, no weapon, just Anne. They ruled out a robbery because homegirl was loaded And nothing was missing. She had tons of valuables. Her jewelry was still on her person, and the house was great shape. Even her purse was hanging by the door. So they could have at least grabbed the purse. She'd been bludgeoned in the back of her skull, had defensive wounds, and she was stabbed 97 times.
Fuck, man.
So what does that mean?
Usually a crime of passion.
Emotional murder. Yep. The autopsy determined that there were 2 weapons used, and she had passed away between 7 and 7:30 on Sunday night. So she went to church at 6, got home, and it almost happened right after she got home.
I'm upset.
Yeah.
I don't care for that. And she was 85. Mm-hmm. Even more badass that she had a fiance.
Mm-hmm. My grandma does too. And she's 80. Yeah.
I know. Me hussies.
About to be 86. She's like, I'm not getting married. I just did it to keep the women off of them at church.
Yeah, I mean, hey, maybe that was her plan too.
Who knows? Maybe. The local and Kentucky State Police, they worked together, and they had to rule out everyone closest to her, obviously. Her whole family was cooperative, and her housekeeper put in her 2 cents after she was cleared. She's like, what about Felix Baldwin? They're like, who is Felix? She said Felix was Ann's handyman and had borrowed money from her several times and was having trouble paying her back. Ann was known to help people out that she cared about in her life, but she kept a log of it. So she would give people loans, be like, yeah, you can get it, but like
you're gonna pay
me back, right?
I'm not over here just being a fucking charity.
Yeah. And he was pissed because she wanted her money back.
Because he was like, she has so much money. Why does it matter if I owe you $3,000? $3,000 to me is $100,000, and to you it's fucking 30.
Yeah, nailed it. That's basically it. Yeah. And he had said before in front of the housekeeper, he's like, I could just kill her. Felix had a criminal record too, but when they looked into him legally, they couldn't bring him in for a polygraph test because he had some heart condition, and apparently it's against the law, which I did not know.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. However, his alibi checked out because he wasn't even in town that night, and also they said he was so frail that he talked a lot of shit, but physically he couldn't have done that much damage to her. Because I mean, 97 times, that's 97 injuries.
But after I spent too much time talking about murder, I'm like, after like the 11th, they're not moving much. It's not that hard to keep stabbing a dead deer.
Oh my God.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not. I don't think you're wrong.
I'm like, once they're dead, it's just you're at that point letting out fucking 3 years of psychological issues probably.
They looked at him, and that's what they said after his alibi checked out, and they're like,
I hear you. I'm just adding color.
Yeah.
I'm just adding color.
Splash that color, Becky. You splash it away. Okay, they had a laundry list of other suspects.
Ooh, suspects 101. That sounds like a porn. Get it?
That you have to wear glasses.
No, you just blowjobs with glasses on.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, there's an ass for every chick.
There is. There's a kink for that. There's an OnlyFans page for that, I'm sure.
Oh, I bet. They had a laundry list of other suspects because she had rental properties everywhere, like I said. Andrew Byerly was one of her tenants, and her family nicknamed him the crazy renter because he was always calling her and yelling. He said his house was haunted, and she had to come over and tell him there was no ghosts in the attic and stuff. Andrew had a legal past, which was included. Yep, that's what I said. Andrew's legal past included manslaughter, and then they brought him in for a polygraph. He got in a huge argument with the polygrapher, though, because he didn't want him to ask him about that, obviously, and they wouldn't do it. He couldn't guarantee they wouldn't do it, so they got in a huge fight, and he said, well, I'm not fucking doing it then, and he left.
Oh, yeah.
However, Andrew's alibi checked out, and he had no motive anyway. He just thought he had Casper in his attic. He wasn't pissed at her for anything, so like... Really? And as they're doing polygraphs on her family, someone went to the top of the list. Russell Winstead.
I don't know who that is. I scared you.
You did.
Look alive.
We're talking about ghosts in the attic. Stop.
Oh, there's ghosts in here or something.
Right. Shut up. Russell was Ann's nephew, and his dad was the one, Earl, who found her originally at her house with the police and let him in. Now, I just got a fucking paper cut.
Oh my gosh, that sucks. I saw that. I was like, what are you doing? Caressing it?
Okay, sorry.
Try to speak through the tears.
Right on the knuckle. Right on the neck.
Man, you must have, that was karma getting you for something. Maybe you cut somebody off.
I do drive like a dick. That's probably why. God damn it. Okay. The family had hired 2 of their own private investigators, and also the investigators also said Russell was their prime suspect as well, because he failed the polygraph miserably, but those aren't always foolproof, as we know.
I'm happy to know that the family paid for private investigators and that they weren't a part of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they wanted her money, were hoping for inheritance, and they're like, oh my God, we miss our grandma.
They were so sweet and sad on the show. It was so sad. They still like, it was so sweet. And Russell was a pallbearer at the funeral and was the father of 3 and went to church every Sunday. And he was a coal mining engineer. He was very well liked, very calm, cool, and collected, and, seemed normal, just a dude. And on the night that Ann was killed, Russell was at church at the same church as Ann at 6 p.m., ran a quick errand, and was home with his family for dinner by 7:30, which makes him that impossible for him to even do it.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, well, I'll take another polygraph, but I want to use the family's PI instead. Like, I want to clear my name. I want to do it with them. Russell's dad claimed police corruption and said that, like, after he failed the first one, Russell's dad was like, well, they got him all fired up right beforehand. So when Russell takes the second one, what do you think happened?
I don't know.
He failed even worse than the first one.
Ooh.
With the private one. And they didn't even say Anna Mae's name when they questioned him. They white glove treated it because they knew that his dad was saying, well, they fucked up the first time and got him all fired up, and that's why his levels were all over the place. But this time they didn't even say her name.
Oh, shit.
And he fucked it up worse. Russell, he was always about money his whole life, and he was an adrenaline junkie. So when being a NASCAR driver didn't pan out, he picked up a gambling addiction.
That's an interesting swerve.
That no one knew about.
Oh.
He had apparently borrowed $100,000 from Ann to pay.
Fudge knuckles.
And this is 2003, too. So.
Oh, my God. That's so much money.
Yeah.
I'm over here stressing over $5,000 for the wedding. And I borrowed $185,000 from somebody thinking I'd be able to pay that shit back from gambling. Yeah. Bitch, please.
Yeah, $100,000. I
said 185 because I was thinking inflation.
No,
just want to reference that I didn't just make up that number. Anyway, sorry. My bad. I had a lot of coffee. Everything's fine.
Yeah. And he was supposed to pay her back by Monday, January 13th, which is also the day after she was killed. He told one friend that he was going to the casino that weekend to try to win it back, and he lost even more.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Because that's how that works,
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen a gambler be like, and then I won all the money and I didn't get my knees broken.
I know. And the family didn't know any of this. And Ann definitely didn't know she was feeling his addiction, because she definitely wouldn't have done that.
Oh.
So she didn't know. I don't know what he told her. And that was my question, too. I couldn't find, I don't know what he said.
Like, I need to refinance my home.
Or
like,
the home things, or I don't know. I don't know. My grandma helps people out if they have kids and really doesn't ask as many questions as she should. So maybe she's sweet like my grandma and does that. I don't know.
That would make sense, I guess.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm just nosy.
I'm like,
honey, I am literally attaching on an interest rate if you borrow money from me. So let's talk about it, because the contract's being written.
I don't know if that was a lump sum or overtime and that was like his total or whatever, but still, it's a lot of fucking money. But again, she kept records of the money she loaned, and the cops were like, okay, when they found out that he was a gambler, and they revisited the evidence and saw he still owed her money. She had written in her book that he had given her a $12,000 check on Friday, but they never found the check. But she had written also that she was depositing it on Monday, like in her logs.
Oh.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They couldn't tie him to her house, though, when they searched his house and his truck. And like I said, he worked at a coal mine, 50, 60 hours a week. And they were really specific. S words are hard for me today, except for the word shit. They were suspicious because he worked at a coal mine and his truck was immaculate on the inside.
Impossible.
Like, not even any dust, not a speck of dirt. The detective on the show said, he's like, how is there not even a little bit? Not even on the floorboard. It's weird. Then Russell's wife filed for an EPO against him, emergency protective order, and he had to move out. The same night, they were watching his house, of course. The cops saw his truck heading to his home, and when they pulled it over, it was his niece's fiance.
What?
I know. Russell, they were like, what are you doing? And Russell had asked him and said, hey, go to my house and get some stuff, but be sure you get that knife out from between the mattress and the box spring. And that's at 1:30 in the morning. What?
These are those moments where I'm just like,
You're done.
friend.
Yeah.
Like, okay. What?
I know. And
I'm
then,
like,
of course,
okay.
and it took him 2 seconds for him to flip.
Look, there's a bloody knife. It's underneath the sink. If you could just get that,
at 1:30.
it'll be fine. But take my truck.
Yeah.
Here's the keys.
Yeah.
And then also just a change of clothes. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I know.
There's some Fritos in the pantry. I'd love those.
I
Just
know.
grab
What
those,
else are you?
Toss it in the bag.
I'm so
I
nosy.
need
I
some
want.
Pert Plus, the shampoo and conditioner combo from in the
I
bag.
can't sleep without my night guard. Like, what do you-
I mean, I personally.
and that knife.
Yeah.
the
The
bed
knife
feels.
is the important part. Grab an
Yeah.
orange because that's why I need the knife. I'm going to cut it up. What?
Yeah, it's dumb. The cops got the knife and determined that it was the murder weapon, but it had been bleached, so they didn't find any physical evidence, but they did measurements when they did her autopsy, and it matched perfectly to the wounds and stuff. Russell's wife, now separated with him, and she came forward and she said, okay, he made me lie. He was not home after church for dinner like he made me say. So she's like, fuck you. I'm done with you. I'm not your alibi anymore. Yeah.
I always ponder with that shit. Like, is it because she's estranged now and she was like strong enough to get away from him that she wasn't worried? I could only assume I would lie too if I was staying in the same house as somebody that I have a feeling murdered someone. I'd be like, yeah, he was totally with me.
You say it? Is that a cell? Can I
I'd be
sleep
like,
there?
I'm gonna go grab some coffee. I'll be back later, babe. And then like go right to the police station
Yeah. I'm like,
with my coffee because I love coffee. Do you like coffee? Coffee. What?
Like that part on Elf when he's walking in. Hey, I saw a dog today. And I said, and I was watching him with him and the kid, and I go, "That's Brooklyn and me in the mornings."
Yeah,
it's like, hey, I
am
saw a dog today. Do you like dogs? That's funny. Da, 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 da. And then he's just walking and not saying a word. I was like, that's us in the morning.
It is. That it is.
Okay. July 15th, 2003, he was officially charged with murder and 1 count of robbery for stealing back his check. Now, they go to arrest him, and he gone. He ain't there. He had gotten a one-way flight to Costa Rica. They
Cash.
didn't, because they don't recognize the death penalty there. So it was actually a smart move on his part. So it's like really hard extradition and all that stuff. Russell's dad, Earl, was wiring him money from the inheritance that he got from Anne, which is so shitty. It makes me mad. Like,
I want to fist fight.
right?
I would like to fist fight.
He knows he killed his brother or his sister, and then he's still asshole.
Okay, something naughty's happening to that dude. Mm-hmm. I guarantee he has thinning hair.
Well, I hope so.
He has male pattern baldness stuff.
They arrested Earl on 7 counts of conspiring and hindering an investigation.
Good. Fuck you, Earl.
In October of 2003. And the cops can't find Russell.
Fuck this, man.
And they can't, and they're stuck until February 2005. America's Most Wanted covered Anne's story. Within hours, they found where he was. They got info that Russell was a high roller at a downtown casino in San Jose, Costa Rica. May 3rd, the Costa Rican authorities arrested him, and it took a whole year to extradite him and work out all the details. February of 2006, they brought him back to Madisonville to stand fucking trial.
What's this dude? What? Give me his name again.
Russell Winstead. Just when the family thinks it's all over and a few weeks away from Russell's trial, get this. A surprise jailhouse confession comes up and turns everything upside down.
Oh, stop it.
A convict named Fred Roulette, which is ironic because the other guy had a gambling problem,
Right.
was waiting trial for murder of someone else who was an elderly woman in a town close by. And it's not like a lot of elderly women get stabbed around here. Brutally,
No, it's not common.
Yeah, so you're like...
It's not a pumpkin spice latte in the fall, you know?
Yeah, do the noise. You're like, go... There you go, thanks.
Sorry, I was too busy looking at this dude. Who kind of looks like he would do a solid job on your taxes.
Yeah?
Yeah. He looks like really shitty sex, though.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or maybe he'd be really tentative lover. I don't know.
We don't like him, so it doesn't matter how tender or whatever you said he is. The cops go to question Fred, and he tells the gruesome details of what happened. He said specifics about it, though, that only the person who did it would know. And the cops go to his attorney and they're like, hey, your boy is going to face the death penalty because he just confessed to this. And his attorney's like, what the fuck? And he goes and talks to him. And then magically, Fred's like, hey, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that.
Oh, my gosh.
But they didn't believe him in the first place. He
Right.
wasn't even in Kentucky when she was killed, like the day she was killed. He wasn't even in the state. But why, though? Because guess who Fred's cellmate was?
I knew it. Stupid Russell.
Russell convinced him. He's like, hey.
Smart.
If you go,
He ain't dumb.
he's like, you're already going to go to jail or go to prison for a long time, right, Fred? I need you to say you did this too, and I'm going to tell you everything about it. And Fred had kids. So he's like, I'll financially take care of your family. I'll take care of you while you're in prison. They're just going to tack on a few more years. You'll be fine. And this guy was very manipulative, and Fred, they said, was easily manipulated. So,
No, that's not. It's kind of smart. Not dumb.
but it backfired because he told him too much. And he'd said some things that even the cops didn't know. And Russell didn't know the cops didn't know this. So he told him way too much shit.
Well, it'd still be what the murderer would have known. The murderer should know more than the cops know.
Yeah, but
did
they
it.
were like, that just proved, though, because
Yeah.
after they figured out his alibi checked out, it just proved that he was told the information. So
Right.
it finally linked him to there. On August 30th, 2007, Russell was finally convicted of Anna Mae's murder and got life without parole and then an additional 20 years for the check theft. So I always wonder why they do that. I'm like,
I'm
just
going to tell you
say,
something, too, and you're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, oh, he got 20 years for stealing a check back that he wrote?
yeah. I'm
That's
like,
so stupid.
He's
Just-
already not going to get out. Just don't do that. But
Whatever.
I think proving a point.
Just call Chase and fucking have the check.
Right.
Whatever.
Russell had still owed her. He had made a couple payments, but he still owed her $75,000, and Ann was over it. He went there after church to get his check back and be like, "Oh, please don't cash that. Give me more time." And she said no. She's like, "I'm tired of your shit."
So what was she going to do?
She was good. I mean, I
Like,
don't
really, though, what would she have done?
I don't know.
Like, call the cops and say, I lent somebody money and they haven't paid me back. There's legally nothing she could have done.
Yeah, I don't know. She was.
So that's why I'm like, so she... And no one deserves to get murdered, but there's no real reason. Like, what are you going to do? Take my house? You can't. You're not a fucking bank. Like,
Yeah.
there was nothing legally she could have done to get the money back. She would have had to just be like, okay.
It was more about this next part. So, but I hear you, and that's a very good point, though. He went out to his truck, and because she thought, oh, he's leaving, he's mad, he's leaving, but he had brought a hammer and a knife with him, and he killed her. And they found a witness who saw him go back around midnight that night and to her house, and that's when he cleaned it up. The check was going to bounce, and he didn't want anybody to know he was a gambler. He didn't want.
I'll just murder somebody who's been only nice and caring to me.
Because she would have had to say, she started asking him, well, why do you even have, why can't you get the money back and all this? So she started asking questions. He didn't like that.
So did she know he was a gambler?
They never announced it at the very end,
So
but I'm
it's
assuming.
like, at the end of the day, he
prob-
killed her for no reason because he was desperate. Mm-hmm. He wanted to wipe the debt clean. It wasn't because he was worried they'd find out that he was gambling. He was trying to wipe a debt clean.
Yeah, but they said, when the check would bounce, then they would ask questions, and his wife would ask questions, and he thought his whole secret.
His wife wouldn't know that the check bounced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, those are all things that, like, you're not made. If I had a check bounce right now, Travis isn't going to know. Like, they're if it's his name on it, there's no reason. At the end of the day, like, I get the saying that he didn't want people to know that he was a gambler, but truly he was trying to wipe a debt clean.
Yeah,
he
too.
thought if she was dead. No, that's the only reason.
Yeah.
If she was dead, he didn't know her money.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was money. He owed her money. She wanted the money back. Kill her. I don't know any money. He could never tell her that he was a gambler. She would never know. No one would ever know if the check bounced.
Yeah.
He would just say, I didn't have $12,000 in my account.
Yeah.
He wanted to wipe it clean and thought he could.
Yeah. This is the stupid part. He says to this day
That's the stupid part.
I mean, you know what I mean.
This whole thing is stupid.
The whole thing is dumb. Except for Anna Mae, we love her. But he says to this day that he could never ever do this. He loved her so much, and obviously he's a fucking liar. And I'm glad that he's rotting in prison. So we hate him. And that's the sad story of Anna Mae Branson and killed by her nephew Russell Winstead.
That's sad.
Only an hour from here. It is sad.
Sad and stupid.
It is fucking dumb.
Another round of someone died for no reason
Yeah. Yep.
because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
It's not like she was a fucking loan shark from the mob.
Yeah, no. 85-year-old baller, and everyone loved her, and it made front page news for weeks and months because people wanted to figure out who did it and why and all that stuff. Very sad.
So and then the family had hired a private investigator, but obviously it wasn't her brother.
No, No, it was.
When did he find out? Was there anything in the show that when did he find out that his son did it?
I don't know. I mean, obviously soon after. I mean,
well, if he went to Costa Rica, he could just be like, "Dad, I need money. I did this," or "I just went to Costa Rica." Like,
yeah.
I wonder what made him decide to then help his son in a way that he's going to go to jail for it.
Yeah, I think. Me guessing, because he was he had a good job, family guy, seemed like going to church. So on the outside looking in, he was probably like just taking a one-way trip to Costa Rica without his family or whatever. Right after his wife got an EPO on him, like his dad probably asked questions.
Yeah, right? The cops already said that he was the prime suspect. He fled after he had done the.
Yeah,
so he would have already known. It wasn't that he just went and took a trip to Costa Rica and left his family.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't understand why he would have supported him, because obviously he would have known that it's 100% likely that his son killed his sister.
Yeah,
for money,
and
because it's in the news.
Yeah,
yeah,
and he
fled.
Him his
and he
dead
paid the one
sister or sister-in-law. Either way, sending his dead relatives money to his son that did it.
Right,
which is very fucked.
I don't care for that. Well, let's talk about another one that sucks.
Okay.
All right. So this is Wikipedia, People, Hulu, The Keeper of the Ashes, the lineup.
I didn't even tell my sources.
Do you want to tell them so that we have them cited?
Yeah, it's fine. I told the show because I fucked that up. And then Oxygen.com, Yahoo.com, Medium.com, and Wikipedia. Sorry. Okay, keep going.
Glorious. I'm going to talk about the Girl Scout murders.
Oh, okay.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Big pile of regret for a lot of people who shouldn't be living with the burden of their regrets.
Oh, no.
Yes. Lots of lifelong despair, most likely, from a very small level of just shit you wouldn't expect. So around 7 p.m. on Sunday, June 12th of 1977, it's the night before camp was supposed to start at Camp Scott in Mays County, Oklahoma. We had sweet little love nuggets. They're huddled in their tents. We have the lovely Lori Lee Farmer, who's 8 years old. Okay. Doris Denise Milner, she's only 10. And then and what's sad here is Doris, who's 10, she did not want to go at all. It made me so sad to see this because she had begged her mom to not go and then wrote letters. Like, it's night one, and there was a letter that she showed that her daughter's like, "I hate this. This is the worst thing ever. I just want to come home." So she did not want to be there. Sweet little Doris did not care to be there, and it's because she was 10 and wanted to be with her mom. She wanted to be at home. She didn't want this, experience per se. Mm-hmm. And then we also had Michele Heather Guse. She's 9 years old. The girls were all residents of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, which is a suburb of Tulsa, and they were sharing tent number 7 in the camp's Kiowa unit, which was located the furthest from the camp counselor's tent and was partially obscured by the camp's showers, located in the camp layout. All 3 girls were actually known to be quiet. One of the camp counselors had said that she was shocked that 3 of the most quiet girls had ended up in a tent together. It was just kind of shocking that they were all in that tent. Mm-hmm. It's not like a tent that you would think that you'd buy a Coleman tent from Walmart. These tents were actually an A-frame tent with wood. You'd walk up them. They had cots. So something that you'd expect to be there for 7 nights, right? You're not fucking lower back pain, which I don't think 8-year-olds have. But it's also a layout that's it's a camp, true camp, kids camp. Yeah, that one got you? Yeah.
So I just pictured an 8-year-old being like, God, my sciatica.
I should have stretched before I got up.
Should have stretched first.
You could definitely tell it was a Girl Scouts camp. So they were really, really passionate. There's this counselor that I'll talk about a little bit later on. And she was, I think, 16 or 17. And she had gone to the camp whenever she was young. And it had given her, that moment of freedom. It helped her find strengths and opportunities that she had. It gave her the ability to, make friends and kind of learn to be, start to develop a personality and be a human, if you will, as they're, getting older.
I used to go
she
to
was really
Girl Scout
passionate
camp
about it. Yeah.
When I was younger. Day camp, I did not do that.
Yeah, I never did
overnight.
I don't think I could have. I would have cried and been like, I want to go home. This is fucking stupid. I'd be that kid. I would be that kid.
Yeah, I probably would have too.
Yeah. Not
I thought there were cookies here.
I still don't like to do things that aren't I want to do whatever I want to do whenever I do it, and that's why I drive my vehicle everywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm never not the one driving because I would like to leave. If I ever want to leave, I'm out. And apparently you can't do that when you're 8 at camp.
Well, that's right. Too much lower back pain, can't drive a car.
True. So I watched a show with Kristen Chenoweth on Hulu.
I love her.
And I made it to like episode 3. And there's 4 episodes. They really tear into everything that happened. And as you can tell, there's obviously a lot, or it wouldn't be 4-hour-long episodes. So there's a lot to it. I'd love to unpack it, but then we'd be sitting here for 4 hours and nobody wants to fucking do that. Like I mentioned, it had some truly dedicated staff, and it was just a really lovely, wholesome kind of experience. So with that being said, at around 6 a.m. the next morning, a camp counselor on her way to the shower saw a girl's body in her sleeping bag in a wooded area just outside of the tent area. This was obviously alarming, and whenever she looked around, she noticed that. So it went a few things. First, she saw the sleeping bag, and she could tell whenever she walked up to it that the girl was deceased, and this is that little 16, 17-year-old camper.
Oh, God.
Or camp counselor. When she walks up to it, she explains that in her dumbfoundness of what happened, that she thought the girl got up in the middle, like this is how crazy. And she says it as an adult. She's like, what a dumb thought. She thought that the girl got up, got scared, and ran into a tree and died. Like that's what she had thought. As a little kid, she was so confused by it that she thought maybe the kid had gotten scared, whatever. So as soon as she sees this, she runs to another counselor. She wakes them up, and her husband was also there, whoever was like the main camp counselor person. He was a nurse. So they run, sprint, go and find that child. They're now touching every single child and counting them. They realize they're missing 3 kids.
Oh, God.
In that same sleeping bag, pushed to the bottom of the sleeping bag are the dead bodies of 2 more girls.
No.
Yes. So as I mentioned, 2 bodies were inside of it, crumpled towards the bottom of the bag, and 1 body was visible on the outside.
That's so
They had been
sad.
left on a trail leading to the showers about 150 yards from their tent. They were able to conclude that all 3 young, sweet babies were beaten and strangled to death after they were raped.
No.
They were only 8, 9, and 10. Now, from my understanding, 1 was raped. One of the bodies was actually warm.
Oh, no.
Which was Doris's, the girl who didn't want to go.
The girl who didn't want to go.
So the belief here is that he killed the other 2 rather quickly and then saved Doris for the end, in which she was the one that had been raped. She was also the one that, as I mentioned, didn't want to believe there, and they believe that the 6 a.m. alarm clock of the camp counselor is what scared the guy. So they explained it that essentially he murdered them in their tent, put them in that sleeping bag, and slung them over the shoulder like he was Santa Claus, and walked out with them in the bag like that.
That is fucking terrible.
Yes. They were under probably 60 pounds each, and they were so small that they all 3 bodies fit in just a regular sleeping bag.
Oh, no.
And then he just dropped them on the ground and left.
Piece of shit.
A large red flashlight was found on top of the girls' bodies with a smudge fingerprint on the lens of it. It ended up being inconclusive and was too smudged for positive identification. A footprint from a 9.5 size shoe was also found in the blood in the tent. A larger search of the 400-acre camp turned up duct tape, rope, and women's eyeglasses. A nearby cave showed signs that someone had been living there. And newspapers discovered there matched the issue that stuffed... Whoa, what does that say? And newspapers discovered there matched the issue, like the fucking fingerprint that was on, like a portion of the fingerprint that was on the flashlight. Mm-hmm. Words were scrawled across the cave wall declaring, "The killer was here, bye-bye fools, 77/6/17," which was the date.
Whoa.
Also, apparently, like 2 photos were left behind. Maybe like they fell out, like not on purpose is kind of the scenario there. Mm-hmm. In the middle of the night, Counselor Carla Wilhite is the one that had found the bodies. Mm-hmm. Had heard a strange guttural moaning coming from outside. She got up to investigate, but seeing nothing unusual, she dismissed it, and she thought it was a wild animal. This was the one that, like, you felt terrible for. So as a little girl, like, I'm going to say 16, 17-year-old, I'm pretty sure that was her age. I could be wrong if somebody fucking watches the show and they're like, she was 18. Suck a dick. I don't care.
Close to that range.
Yeah, she was a young girl. And so she heard, and she was like, it was like a sound I've never heard before, because she probably hasn't heard a grown man raping a little girl.
Oh, God.
Because that's what it is. And she thought it was an animal. And so at one point she could have gotten closer, and she goes, I was scared because I thought it was an animal and I didn't want to go up and get attacked by it. So I went back to my tent.
Man. I mean, if you
and has to
don't
live
know,
with, and now she lives with.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't do that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
No, it's teen
right
logic.
now today.
Teen logic.
And it's just logic. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, let's say that happened to you or me. I have a gun and know how to shoot it. So I would go back and be like, that is weird. I'll go grab my gun. God forbid it's a mountain lion or whatever the fuck it could be.
Yeah.
You don't have a gun and you don't shoot them. So you're not going to go grab a knife and go into the woods and be like, what's that sound? You'd be like, I'm sure that's an animal. I don't want to fuck with that. And you'd go back to bed.
No, I call the cops. Or you.
You wouldn't. It's just an animal,
yeah.
right? It only sounded like an animal. Like she said it was a sound she never
poor
knew.
girl.
And So around 1:30 in the morning, the same time that Wilhite was awakened, several campers heard that ominous moaning. Roughly half an hour later, a camper was woken up by someone opening the tent flaps with a flashlight.
Oh, God.
And went back to bed, assuming it's
A counselor.
a counselor.
Yeah.
Around 3 a.m., a camper heard a scream coming from the tent housing Milner and her friends. At the same time, another camper heard someone crying out for their mom.
Fuck.
The young girls were unsure of what to do, and they went back to bed.
I mean, it's kind of, I guess, like the close your eyes if you think a ghost is in your room mentality when you're younger. You're just like, if I go to sleep, it won't, this isn't real. Like,
100%.
That, I mean.
Why in the world would you ever think?
That? Never.
Ever.
Especially back then. Like, now, they talk to kids about that way younger than they used to. But, like, now, no.
I don't know if they do. Because back then, it was just stranger danger. Now, kids are 6 and with cell phones.
True.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think I don't know.
I don't know.
I just don't know. At 2:30 and like 3 a.m., the landowner, he had said he recalled hearing quite a bit of traffic on like a remote road near the camp. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that means. I think that was him saying like he was hearing things and it was likely the murders.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the dude had a car.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I say that, but let's talk about that. So we'll jump to the suspect here. We have, and so really quick, the other person who felt a huge amount of the guilt was obviously Doris's mom.
Yeah.
So she probably took it the hardest because she had to openly like explain in great detail how much her kid didn't want to be there, but she thought it was her enlightening her daughter.
She thought she was, and that's
giving
sad.
her a fun new life experience.
She was just trying to do the best for her. And even I've had friends that are parents and they've said like, well, they're not always going to like the decisions you make, but you're trying to do it for their future. So she was like, maybe she'll thank me later or thank me when she gets home that she pushed her to go.
Yep.
Poor her mom.
But she'd also told the counselor too, like, hey, if she really hates it, let me know. I'll come get her.
Yeah.
She had told her whenever she was dropping them off.
Like gave her a trapdoor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Gene Leroy Hart. He was born November 27, 1943. I don't know why his birthday matters, but just so you guys know. This guy was raised about a mile from Camp Scott. He was a member of the Cherokee Nation. Everyone in town knew him and had said that he was a great kid. Apparently he was a football star and had like some full scholarships to leave and play football. But he chose to stay at home and get married and have kids. Which I guess I understand in the 60s, because that was probably the time frame, like in the 60s, whenever that decision was made. But football star, I think you'd want to go to school, make more money, and then like still obviously have your wife because they didn't have college degrees.
Yeah.
And like, but I don't know. To that, it's not that it rubbed me the wrong way. It just seemed kind of weird.
That is weird.
They said that like he was a super nice guy, insert nice guy. He was super helpful. He could like build and fix things or something like that. Like he was just a handy guy. Mm-hmm. I'd say that this was the time in his life when he was building up that sweat equity, if you will. And that's when people were like officially notating him as he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. People are very on Team Gene Leroy. Okay. But then, like, at some point in it, his marriage falls apart and he fucking loses his shit. I legit have no clue whatsoever at all, in any way, shape, or form, why he then did what he did. So he kidnaps 2 pregnant women.
What? Wait.
By gunpoint. I believe it was by gunpoint. But he kidnaps 2 pregnant women and he takes them into the woods and he repeatedly takes turns raping them.
What? Oh, wait.
After he ties them up.
That was a hard left turn. Drugs? Anything? Nothing?
Nope.
You got nothing?
Got no drugs. So then they say at some point that he like left him for dead, and I'm like, how did he leave him for dead? Like, I don't think he had like physically like no stabbing or hit. Like, I don't think any of that. He had just tied him up and not he had just, but They said that he left them for dead. And I'm like, leaving them for dead to me is stabbing them and then like leaving them out. So I don't know that.
Did he tie them up?
Yeah.
Like, so they, I mean.
Oh, I guess, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And they're hogtied. And they're pregnant and hogtied out in the boonies with no, they don't have a best friend like I do that has her location and can be like, why is Heather in the middle of the national forest? She doesn't go there.
Oh my God, that'd be terrible.
Right.
He was at the Mays County Jail. So FYI, he did go to jail for that.
Good.
But look at this.
No.
Okay. I'm going to bounce because I just realized that I copy and pasted shit in the wrong area. So we're just going to have to go with my choppiness of this because it's kind of like, okay, he's at the Mays County Jail because he did end up going to prison for the kidnapping and raping of those 2 pregnant women. But, hold tight, he gets out on parole for that.
Why? How?
But when he burglarizes a place, he goes to jail.
So he got paroled for raping and leaving 2 pregnant women outside.
Yes.
And then goes to jail for burglary. Like not a keep going. This is fucking awful.
Well, he ends up escaping.
What?
So when the murders happened in 77, he was at large since 73.
4 years?
Mm-hmm. Because he lived in the wilderness, they believe.
What the fuck?
So for all that time, like he was so capable of living out in the park area that he didn't need to be. It's the same thing as like Gabby Petito's killer, her fiance.
Yeah.
How Brian, whatever his name was able to like be out in the woods for so long. Like they were survivalists. They were able to do it. So he just lived in essentially that cave.
That
is the theory.
He goes from football star with a wife to this to murdering cave dweller.
Yes. And child rapist.
Yeah.
Within a year of the crime, I think it's like 10 months after it, he ends up being arrested at the home of a Cherokee medicine man. So I guess he had like gone to his tribal whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking I don't know. Now, why is he a suspect? That might be the question. Why did they come to him?
Yeah.
Well, he was out and about at the time, obviously, in that area. He was capable of living in the woods because of his time as an escaped felon. And those photos that they had found in the cave, they put on TV. And apparently a prison employee recognized the 2 photos, the 2 wedding photos in the cave that was on that broadcast. And he called the police because he had developed those in prison.
Whoa.
And a police person was like, I remember him developing those.
He had his wedding photos in the cave?
I don't know if it was his wedding photos. I don't think it was. It could have been his parents' ones or random wedding photos that he was like developing as a class thing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they said police learned that Hart had developed the photos as a part of a prison work program years earlier.
I mean, that's a good memory. I mean, maybe. I wouldn't remember that.
I feel like I would.
You would. I have a terrible... I'm Dory. I can't do that.
He was represented by Garvin A. Isaacs. Okay, so pause on that real quick. What pissed me the fuck off, too. So there were people that were still holding on to the fact... Okay, number one, people will fight whether or not Hart did it or he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He fucking did it. I'm going to fucking tell you right now. He fucking did it.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Fuck him.
I can tell by the look on your face. He did it before you said it.
To me, he did it. I'm no one. I'm literally no one in the world of this storyline. But he did it. But people didn't want to believe that. So in this small town, people would go up to Doris's mom and be like, he couldn't have done it. My husband said that there's no way he did it. And she was like, I had to look at people while I'm at the grocery store and be like, how the hell do you have the gumption to tell me who didn't kill my daughter? So even after all of this, people thought it was okay for them to verbalize their opinion. The worst thing is they just did it face to face versus our bullshit ass fucking like life Facebook, now where they do it on Facebook and the internet.
They came up to her and she was already carrying all that. Like people are so inappropriate and so stupid. Like back the fuck up.
Doris's mom though, like strong as all get out.
Yeah,
there's
we love
something
her.
About her spine that's steely.
Aww.
She's something about her is different.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can't tell because she's obviously an older woman now, but they showed old photos of her and the old photos of her had a steel fucking spine too. So I don't know if the loss of her daughter made her that way or if life's fucking bullshit ass ways for an African American woman to grow up in Oklahoma
didn't
create an already badass fucking woman already. You know what I
I'm
mean?
going to have to rewatch this documentary.
You should.
Because I forgot. I'm remembering her now, and I do remember thinking the same thing about
you're
her
like,
mom.
that woman would fucking skin a man alive if she had the ability to fucking kill him. For sure.
Yeah.
So go Doris's mom.
Yeah.
Anyway, Horbag was represented by Garvin A. Isaacs, who's a local Oklahoma attorney. He was tried on March of 1979. Although the local sheriff pronounced himself 1,000% certain that Hart was guilty, a local jury acquitted him.
Why? Local, was it in the same county? Sorry.
I don't know. I don't know that. They said a local jury.
I'm assuming yes.
As a convicted rapist and jail escapee, Hart still had 305 years of his 308-year sentence left to serve at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. Here's my confusion. So he had 305 years already for burglary.
How is that? Or were they making?
I don't know.
Were they making up for like his? Like they
The
were
rape?
like, we fucked up on the last one, so
Maybe.
it's third strike parking ticket. Here you go. We're throwing you away. Like
I think it was 4 burglary attempts, and I didn't have time to dive into it to see, like, did he hit somebody over the head with the butt of a gun? Because then you're in jail for it. If it's aggravated. But it didn't say aggravated burglary. It just said 4 counts of first-degree burglary, which is probably aggravated.
Yeah.
He probably did some fucked up shit.
This story's aggravating.
Ain't it?
Right?
Ain't it, lady? Fuck. Look at this shit.
Ugh.
On June 4th of 1979, 2 years after the murders. So he's only back in jail. Oh, you know the 305-year sentence was probably because he escaped.
Oh, yeah.
Guarantee.
They got mad and they're like, we're never letting you out.
So that's the other thing, is they said that the cop, the sheriff, was so angry that he had made him look like a fool for breaking out of jail that they picked him.
What?
Because he was like Cherokee. There was a lot of like...
They had racial undertones or something?
They're saying it, but he didn't. The cop didn't. No vibe of... The only person that was like, God, I hope it wasn't a Native American, was a Native American worried that it was one of his people.
Yeah.
That was all it was.
Wow.
Like at least that's all I saw.
Yeah.
You know? Doris was the only African American. She was the one that was raped. The other 2 were white girls. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But they also implied, like, people went after the cop acting like he just picked this guy because he was mad that he had escaped. No! He was a violent fucking rapist.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you guys. You stupid fuck. Like, I just hate... You know, I feel like... And I know I'll get off my soapbox. But I feel like everyone... Not everyone. But there are so many people out there, always and forever, fuck what year it is, fuck what's happened in the nation. They just want to get mad because getting mad is a feeling and they want to dive into it and they want to feel passionate about it. So they want to get all fucking fired up and get shitty and come up with reasons to attack anyone they can at any time that they can, whether they're too fat, they're too skinny, they're too rich, they're too poor, they didn't donate enough, they don't volunteer enough, they fucking don't put their card up at Kroger whenever they get there. I don't fucking care what it is. Everyone wants to get shitty and mad and talk shit.
They do. And I think some of the people, too, they like to feel a part of something. So they feel like if they lean in one way, they can lean in with other people that are leaning the same way. Or they're like, well, so-and-so's mad about that. And you're like, you know what? I bet they're right. And then you just jump on their bandwagon, too.
Mob mentality.
Yeah.
Let's just get after it. Anyway.
Yeah. Are we good?
No, I'm
Want
still
to meditate for a minute? I'll wait.
Just sit in silence.
Okay. No, don't. I will fall asleep.
So anyway, on June 4th, 1979, 2 years after the murders, probably only 1 year after he had gone into jail, he collapses and he dies of a heart attack.
1 year?
At the age of 35.
Wait, what? 35?
He has a heart attack at 35 after about an hour of lifting weights and jogging in the prison exercise yard.
He died?
He has a heart attack at 35 after a rough cardio workout.
Karma. I don't know. I would have rather him stayed in jail and thought about
100%.
it. But
he literally did horrible crimes and barely did any time in prison for him and got to frolic in nature, which is literally a dream of mine.
Wow. Eventually,
Camp Scott was shut down. No shit, because I'm pretty sure fucking Friday the 13th, you got to shut those camps down.
Yeah. No one's dying to send their kids there. Like,
did you pun intend?
No. Oh, God.
I was like, was that a pun?
You just looked at me and I'm like, why is she giving me that look? I didn't mean that because that's sad.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Eventually, as I mentioned, shut down, alleging negligence. 2 of the victims' families sued the Magic Empire Council, which ran the Girl Scouts of Eastern Oklahoma, for $5 million.
Whoa.
Now, they did that because of where the tent was the furthest away and the view was obscured. At the end of the day, I've said it, and I get it, and I would do it, that victims' families or victims have to have an outlet. They have to have a close. They have to blame someone. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. Someone needs to be blamed. It's the same thing as going after the place that sold the gun because the person shot you got to go after someone. Mm-hmm. You have to go after somebody. Unfortunately, jurors voted 9-3 in favor of Magic Empire, that it was not their fault.
So they didn't get it.
Because how the fuck could you ever expect to build out a kids camp to prevent murders?
Yeah.
There's nothing you could have done.
Yeah.
That's like suing the mall for someone coming in and shooting at it.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Mm-hmm.
Richard Guse, the father of Michele Heather Guse, helped the state legislator pass. I kind of felt sexy on the last part. I didn't mean to. I was like, ooh, I wasn't trying to be kinky. They voted to pass the Oklahoma Victims Bill of Rights. He also went on to found the Oklahoma Crime Victims Compensation Board. Lori Lee Farmer's mother, Sherry Farmer, founded the Oklahoma chapter of Parents of Murdered Children Support Group.
Wow.
Of course, this isn't the end, though. Did he do it?
Yeah.
Not everyone was convinced, and his early death made it even harder to find out. But
was there anybody else?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
No, there really wasn't. That's the other thing, too, is that they said that they cried wolf and ran after one guy. But let's continue on. In 1989, because we didn't have DNA before, 1989 DNA testing was conducted that showed 3 of the 5 probes matched Hart's DNA. Okay. Statistically, DNA from 1 in 7. So that means it could have been 700 Native Americans would also have the same results. So
yeah, but we're 700 of them.
We were in an area. It could have been another Native American. It could have been somebody else from the Cherokee village.
Yeah, but
is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Based off of, would you have to say that?
Yeah.
Same thing if it would have been an African American. They would have been like, well, could have technically been any other 900 African Americans in this area when you're trying to say without a reasonable doubt, right? Mm-hmm. In 2008, authorities conducted new DNA testing on stains found on the pillowcase, the results of which proved inconclusive because the samples were, quote, too deteriorated to obtain a DNA profile. Mm-hmm. In 2017, $30,000 in donations were raised by the sheriff.
Oh.
By the sheriff. Because the sheriff now was like 6 years old whenever it happened and lived 6 miles away. Yeah. And was fully dedicated to figuring out who it is.
Yeah, it's probably traumatized.
Yeah, and they all want to know, you know? Yeah. They never felt like they got the closure. They had inkling suspicion. It seems like it's this guy. Okay, y'all, shut the fuck up. There was literally a signed confession on the damn cave wall with a fucking photo that only he could have provided.
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
And then all his other shit that he did too.
Yes.
Like, fuck him.
So anyway, the sheriff raised $30,000 in donations so that they could do new DNA testing using the latest advances. So they were like, but we've obviously made some progress. Let's do it. In 2022, last year, authorities made public that DNA evidence strongly suggested it was Hart.
He did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sheriff Mike Reed of Mays County said, quote, unless something new comes up, something brought to light we are not aware of, I am convinced where I'm sitting of Hart's guilt and involvement in this case.
He did it.
He had done all of it, and they didn't announce it. They did all that secret testing, didn't announce it. They did it back in 2019, and they didn't go public with their findings. And the families had asked him to, the victims' families. Wow. We're like, can you let everyone know that we're certain that it was him?
Wow.
Now, as I mentioned, all of the things that we did, as a result of the Supreme Court case, McGirt versus Oklahoma in 2021, which determined that crimes involving Cherokee natives on Cherokee lands in Oklahoma fell under tribal rather than state sovereignty, new details about the killings are being investigated by the Cherokee Nation. I'm not do what you need to do, because I understand that this did not look good upon your people, and your people in a tribe scenario is different. But a writer, Faith Phillips, stated that she had obtained a written confession to the killings from a Cherokee native, like some other Cherokee human, which as of July 2023 was under new investigation. And since the case had never fully been closed by the FBI.
Wow.
So now they're saying it could have been another Cherokee individual in the area.
Huh. I don't think that.
I don't either.
I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either.
I mean, I get, like you said, that's people that have been persecuted and treated differently their whole lives, so they got to check all their boxes and do all their due diligence. But
100%.
So,
and Kristen Chenoweth, I always felt so much to her. She ended up being a godmother of one of the cruise ships at Royal Caribbean whenever I was there.
Really?
And so, like, she was a huge part. Like, whenever that happens, like, celebrities become really important to you, and they do it because they're special. But like, she was supposed to go. She went to school with the girls. She was supposed to go on the trip, but she got sick right before. And so the whole reason she is involved in all of it is because it's haunted her entire life, because she was supposed to be there. Who knows if she would have been in tent number 7.
Yeah, she's on the documentary, right? That's the part I remember was her, because I like her little mousy voice. I think she's a doll.
Yeah.
So
she came back home to try to put the whole thing to bed as well.
Man.
I couldn't imagine that one either, being like, I could have been dead.
Right?
Like, at the end of the day, the kids didn't know, and I'm sure there's somebody who had picked the tents and had no idea that when they listed those 3 little girls in that tent that they had chosen to write their death certificate, because that's what happened. Whoever was in tent number 7 was going to die.
Damn. That affected a lot of people, too, and still does, apparently.
Yeah.
And that was years ago.
Well, they showed, too, right before I left, because I waited until right before now to watch the rest of the show. They showed the tree that the bodies were on, and the tree had rotted. God. So where the babies their bodies were disposed of, the tree had died for no reason. In a forest of all live trees, that tree died.
Wow.
That's sad.
Everything we said today is sad.
Yes.
Except for our dumb jokes.
Because those are a treat.
Those are a treat.
They are a sugary treat.
Yeah. Well, you ready to wrap this shit up?
Sadly.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go grab a Kroger beer. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you guys have grocery store beers? Because we do. So.
And if you don't, you should.
You really
Unless
should.
I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't want there to be a whole bunch of people at our crowbar.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking to everybody that doesn't live in Owensboro.
Because if you can drink while shopping, you should do it.
Yes. Do we need $10 cheese? No. Are we going to buy it? Yes.
Are we going to eat it like it's an apple? Also, yes.
Yes.
Well, we love you guys. We hope that you have a good day. And we also hope that you can be lifted up in other ways other than the stories that we just told you.
That's right.
Because these bitches be heavy. And no matter how many push-ups, they're still hard to carry.
This bitch.
Okay, we love you. Bye.
We love you. Bye.
Theodore, can I pet that dog?